right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A violent 4 days on the streets of St. Louis. More than a dozen shootings, leaving 6 people dead, including 2 teenage girls.
It's ridiculous. It's just really sad.
Tonight, the response of St. Louis leaders to a weekend of crime and chaos, and the call for solutions from beyond the city's borders.
It's a regional issue, and it's something that we need to tackle, and we need to do it now.
But first tonight, storm alert continues as large hail pounds areas south of St. Louis.
Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, several of our southern counties remain under a severe thunderstorm watch for the next hour. Let's get right over to Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell, who's tracking these storms.
Yeah,
Scott.
It has been a really noisy night down to the south of St. Louis as we've been tracking showers and thunderstorms. We still have the severe thunderstorm watch. It does include Jefferson County. It includes Monroe County in Illinois and going on to the south from there. But as we head through the rest of the evening, we can expect a general trend towards weakening of these thunderstorms. That's what we've been seeing so far. A lot of ground clutter around St. Louis, but there's the cells that we have our eyes on in Jefferson County, spreading across the river towards Valmeyer and towards Waterloo into Redbud now. Some small hail for sure in here, but it's doubtful there's severe hail. It's probably up to the size of nickels as you go just south of Festus right now, and then over into southern portions of Monroe County. A lot of cloudy ground lightning there, and that stretches all the way down 55 to Cape Girardeau. This has been an ongoing thing for the last 3 hours, with the areas south and southwest of St. Louis seeing these thunderstorms moving over some of the same areas over and over and dropping large hail with them. Some of the hail up to the size of tennis balls. This is from near Rolla. Jackie sent this in, and you can see some of that larger hail, bigger than golf balls at times. There was quite a bit of it. Here is the good news we have for you tonight. Our severe threat is diminishing. We'll be in storm alert here until 11 o'clock when the severe thunderstorm watch expires. The storms will be weakening and they'll be moving away. We will watch, though, for those low water crossings, especially south and southwest of St. Louis, where we've had that heavier rainfall over and over tonight. Some of those will be high through the overnight hours, but quiet weather is returning tomorrow. More on the upcoming weekend and our next round of storms in a few minutes, Ann.
Thank you, Scott. A reminder that you can stay on top of the Weather First forecast 24/7. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355. We'll send it straight to your phone.
Now to the violent weekend in St. Louis. 6 people have died. At least 15 others were injured since Friday. Police tell 5 on Your Side officers responded to more than 600 calls citywide in a 12-hour period beginning Saturday afternoon. 173 of those were in downtown alone. Tonight, we have team coverage on this weekend's crime. 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend learned more about the young victims in a deadly shooting in the Hyde Park neighborhood.
But first, our Laura Barczewski spent the day pressing leaders across the region for solutions. Laura.
Mike and Ann, leaders in the city and beyond say the rampant crime in St. Louis is affecting the entire region, and they propose some immediate and long-term solutions. Frustrating, tragic, and disheartening are just a few of the words people use to describe a violent and disorderly weekend in downtown St. Louis.
Government's first function is to protect its citizens and keep them safe. And when our governments are not doing that, something needs to be done, and it needs to be done now.
Resident and chair of Citizens for a Greater Downtown, Les Sturman, says they have proposed several solutions, including some that could make a difference right away.
I think there needs to be a blitz of law enforcement, for some period of time to get the traffic lawlessness under control. I think right away we know which landlords are a problem. The city needs to get on their case immediately and put a stop to this.
Greater St. Louis Inc. CEO Jason Hall said in a statement they're working on a regional strategy to address crime, starting with a regional crime summit to bring leaders and organizations together. Area mayors and county executives, including Wildwood Mayor Jim Bolin, agree with that sentiment and pushed for a 6-point plan just weeks ago. Their plan called on Missouri legislators to first combine the St. Louis County and city prosecuting offices.
And so by combining those 2 offices, you gain economies of scale. You also have the ability, with respect to city residents, for example, to have speedier trials.
They also asked for higher penalties connected to fentanyl deaths, car thefts, and a reassessment of the juvenile system.
We would see an immediate effect in terms of being able to hold juveniles if their parents can't pick them up, as opposed to, when they commit a crime at the behest of, someone doing a drug deal, because they know that juveniles will be let go immediately. That will no longer happen.
St. Louis police say they did have an increased presence downtown this weekend, despite claims disputing that, and will continue to increase their patrols on the weekends.
We have to create a large presence, and hopefully people will that will deter people from coming downtown or anywhere else in the city carrying weapons.
Mayor Boland says they haven't heard from anyone from the city about their 6-point plan. And when I reached out to the Mayor Jones's office today, they said she was unavailable and referred to a statement they sent out yesterday. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
2 teenage girls were killed and 2 others critically wounded when gunfire rang out in St. Louis's Hyde Park neighborhood early Sunday. Our Robert Townsend is live out at police headquarters with what he's learning about the young victims. Robert.
Mike, Asia Baker was one of the high schoolers shot and killed. Today, her grief-stricken mom just could not do an interview with me. Their neighbors are talking about the teenager's death and senseless violence.
This just doesn't seem real.
A stunned Brittany Ross and other parents in this Spanish Lake neighborhood cannot believe what happened to their 18-year-old neighbor, Asia Baker.
A sweet little girl walks up and down the street and speak and say hi and wave at the kids, and no problems at all, like a good kid.
Police say just after 2 Sunday morning, they went to the 2100 block of Branch in St. Louis's Hyde Park neighborhood to investigate a quadruple shooting. Officers found Baker dead in some grass. Her 18-year-old friend, Aaliyah Gillum, also shot to death. Paramedics took 2 other girls, just 17 and 18 years old, to the hospital with gunshot wounds. Neighbors are now comforting and supporting Baker's family.
Oh man, they hurting, man. I mean, it's unspeakable.
She's heartbreaking. I have 4 kids of my own, so my heart pours out to her because I can only imagine as a mother getting that phone call.
Asia's mom tells 5 on Your Side her daughter turned 18 just 2 months ago. Asia was the youngest of 4 and looking forward to graduating from Hazelwood East High School next month. The young victim's neighbors echo an outcry we've heard throughout the city. They're fed up with the gun violence.
Of course, we do stay in a city where violence is around now, so a lot of more people feel like they need the guns for their safety, but sometimes they just get in the wrong hands, and the wrong hands take lives.
It's ridiculous, man. There ain't even no words for it. It's just really sad, man.
Police are still looking for the shooter in this case, and as of right now, they have not released any new information. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
The weekend violence spilled into today. Tonight, St. Louis homicide detectives are investigating a deadly shooting in Tower Grove South. Officers responded to a parking lot at Grand and Gravois this afternoon where they found a man shot in the head. He died at the scene. Police did not identify the victim or a suspect.
More charges tonight for the man charged in 2 shootings at a downtown St. Louis parking garage. Deshaun Wilson is now charged in an attempted robbery inside the garage at the Marriott St. Louis Grand Hotel. He faces 1 count of unlawful use of a weapon, armed criminal action, unlawful possession of a firearm, resisting arrest with a felony. Wilson is also accused of killing Letitia Stewart last Wednesday night inside the garage. The next night, police say he returned and shot and wounded 2 men. Wilson was arrested Friday after he allegedly tried to rob a couple in the garage.
Right now, police are investigating a deadly crash in North St. Louis. Police responded to the 3-car accident just after 4 o'clock at the intersection of Page and Hamilton. 1 person died at the hospital. Police haven't said if anyone else was hurt or what led up to this crash.
Tonight, state officials say the city of Brentwood has violated the Missouri Clean Water Act. Crews recently demolished a bridge over Deer Creek to help with flood mitigation. Environmental scientists then found what looked like styrofoam in the water and reported it to the Department of Natural Resources. Brentwood Mayor David Dimmitt tells 5 on Your Side they have followed the contractor's records.
Unfortunately, none of those documents showed the presence of this polystyrene foam.
It's a pollutant in the sense that it's something that doesn't belong in any sort of water body.
The mayor says they've been in constant communication with the DNR and the creek has been cleaned up. The flood mitigation phase of the project is set to be completed later this month.
Tomorrow, the Environmental Protection Agency will hold a public meeting on the West Lake landfill. Back in the 1970s, the federal government illegally dumped World War II-era nuclear waste at the landfill. Right now, plans are underway to excavate and remove that waste. The EPA will inform residents and community members about the next steps in that process. Tomorrow's meeting starts at 6 o'clock at the Machinist Hall on St. Charles Rock Road in Bridgeton.
New tonight, 5 on your side is learning more about the closure of a Boeing plant in Hazelwood. According to our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal, a lawsuit filed by Boeing blames GKN Aerospace of failing to adequately capitalize its St. Louis operations. Boeing relied on the company to supply essential parts to make the F-15 and the F-A-18 fighter jets used by the Air Force, Navy, and foreign allies. The plant is expected to close by the end of the year. 900 employees are affected.
Senior homeowners in Missouri would be spared rate hikes on property taxes under a bill passed by state lawmakers. If signed by Governor Mike Parson, it would be up to counties to approve the property tax breaks for people age 65 and older. The measure would also end state taxes on Social Security benefits. Supporters say it will help seniors on fixed budgets. Critics are concerned about the bill's $319 million cost a year in potential lost revenue.
Tonight, the St. Louis community is mourning the death of renowned opera star Grace Bumbry. She died Sunday at a hospital in Vienna at the age of 86. She suffered a stroke back in October. Bumbry got her start singing in the church choir and at Sumner High School. She went on to become one of the leading mezzo-sopranos of her generation. Bumbry is also known for her work to break racial boundaries during segregation. We went into our archives and found an interview she did with Chris Condon in the 1960s.
I think about as being a talent, and if you have the talent, if you have the voice, the material, then you get ahead. It's not whether you're black, red, or green. You just must have the material and the get up and go, I always call it.
Funeral arrangements are pending tonight.
Another growing memorial for the latest mass shooting in the U.S.
I heard pow, 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 shooting, and everybody ran.
Tonight, what we're learning about the possible motive in the Texas Outlet Mall shooting. Wasting food and wasting money. Tonight, the hundreds of dollars worth of groceries we throw away every year and how to get the most bite for your buck.
Still in storm alert tonight. Severe thunderstorm warning now in effect, just issued for southern portions and southeastern portions of Monroe County in Illinois, far southern portions of St. Clair County, and then northern portions of Randolph County onto the Illinois side, heading into southwestern portions of Washington County. Hail is your main threat, as it's been most of the evening. We're coming right back when all of this moves out.
Tonight, the search for answers continue after Saturday's mass shooting at an outlet mall near Dallas, where 8 people died.
Investigators say the 33-year-old gunman was kicked out of the Army 3 months into basic training for a physical or mental condition. Authorities say his social media activity is part of their investigation. A former police officer who rushed to the mall and helped some of the victims says something needs to change.
This is not a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's an American problem.
7 more people were wounded in Saturday's shooting. 6 remain in the hospital. 3 remain in critical condition tonight. There have been more than 200 mass shootings in the U.S. already this year.
Tonight, investigators are trying to determine if a deadly crash in Brownsville, Texas, was intentional. Authorities say George Alvarez ran a red light and plowed into a crowd outside a migrant center. 8 men from Venezuela died. Alvarez was in court today and was charged with manslaughter and aggravated assault. Officials are awaiting toxicology reports to see if he was drunk.
Just hours ago, closing arguments were presented in the civil trial against Donald Trump in Manhattan federal court. E. Jean Carroll's lawsuit accuses the former president of raping her in the mid-90s and then later defaming her by lying about it in public comments. Trump has maintained his innocence. The 6-man, 3-woman jury will begin deliberating the case tomorrow.
Tonight, the Biden administration is aiming to bolster new protections for airline passengers. Today, President Biden proposed new rules requiring airlines to compensate travelers for significant airline cancellations and delays. This would include paying for meals and hotel rooms if airlines are responsible for stranding passengers.
Airlines need to accept their fundamental responsibility to better serve passengers. When they don't, we are here to enforce passenger rights and hold airlines accountable.
Today's announcement comes ahead of the busy summer travel season.
Having to throw away uneaten food from the fridge is like throwing money right in the garbage. Something that's even more painful with today's high food prices. Tonight, Consumer Reports offers some easy tips to keep your food and your money out of the trash.
Consumer Reports home editor and classically trained chef Paul Hope will do just about anything to keep his food from going in the garbage.
One of my biggest pet peeves is wasting food. Not only is it a total waste of money, it just seems unethical to me. So I go to great lengths to do whatever I can to use stuff up before it goes bad.
He recently repurposed leftover pork to make several different meals for the week, something he does often.
Beef stew as a future topping on nachos is a classic. Hot dog buns into a dessert, that's another great option. Hamburger buns for grilled cheese.
Another great tip for saving, meal planning. When mapping out meals for the week, Paul often buys in bulk and buys frozen so he can just thaw the portion he needs. One way he makes sure expensive proteins can be used for different dishes throughout the week.
I keep food as plain as possible, as long as possible, because once you've sort of, altered the flavor of it, you really can't undo that.
Then add the unique seasonings to the portion you need for the day's meal. Round out the meal with any veggies you may have that are almost past their prime. When it comes to storing food, CR says keeping groceries in the right shelves and bins in your fridge can help cut down on food waste and save you money.
For your more expensive grocery items, such as meat and eggs, you want to store them on the lower shelves inside your refrigerator, which tend to be coldest.
And don't be afraid to use your freezer. Something like bread is going to last a lot longer when it's frozen.
Consumer Reports also says to save your fridge door for items like butter and condiments instead of milk or eggs. That's because temperatures on your refrigerator door tend to be a few degrees higher than the inside shelves.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joining us with the weather first forecast, and we are in storm alert, Scott.
Yes, we're still in storm alert. We'll get rid of these thunderstorms south of St. Louis in the course of the next hour or two, but at least through about 11 o'clock, we're in storm alert. We've been looking south here. This is looking from Forest Park down to the south, and occasionally we see some of that lightning associated with those showers and thunderstorms, but at the moment, that has been somewhat limited. Around the metro area, the rainfall has been. We've seen it get up to around Arnold and over towards Columbia, getting a little bit of rain. And you're getting the outflow now from these storms down to our south, coming into the southern parts of the metro area. One severe thunderstorm warning still left. Again, it's been hail up to the size of quarters. It's been the problem in the last hour or two. Before that, we had upwards of tennis ball size hail down to the south of St. Louis. But this storm that's now moving out of southeastern portions of Monroe County and into portions here of northern Randolph County, between Redbud and Prairie du Rocher, we've got some hail in here, likely to be about the size of quarters. So nickels to quarters, that's enough to be severe, heading from Ruma over towards Evansville, and eventually this is going to get into Sparta in about 10-15 minutes. So the severe thunderstorm warning until 10:45. Again, traveling Highway 3, 154. You're going to run into that scenario here with the large hail, and just try to avoid that area. Stay inside, away from windows and doors until that storm moves on through. A lot of lightning, which is indicative of hail with these thunderstorms. We saw a lot of that across southern portions of Missouri and down into the Ozarks earlier, up to tennis ball size hail. Some wind damage reported down in Reynolds County as well. You can see that area forming to our south and slowly sliding away. Now, most of us around the metro area did not see rain, but we did see some really cool clouds. These are Romatus clouds. Nathan shot that looking from the Fenton area, and we had a lot of reports. This is under the anvil of those thunderstorms that were to our south where the air is trying to sink. Really cool stuff, especially when it's around sunset. So by tomorrow morning, this is all gone. Everything's out. We have a quiet Tuesday. We'll see decreasing clouds, mostly sunny skies during the afternoon. We're going to take our temperatures back to around 80, and all of the showers and thunderstorms will stay well away from us. In fact, tomorrow, Wednesday, looking pretty good for the St. Louis area. Tonight, we're at 72. We were at 87 earlier today for the high. Early this morning, we picked up about 53/100ths of an inch of rain. We're going to drop back into the 50s tonight. Tomorrow, near 80. Winds will be more northeasterly tomorrow at about 10 miles per hour. Low 80s through the end of the week, and then mid to upper 80s by Friday and Saturday. We do have additional rain chances returning by Thursday, Friday, into the weekend. That does include potentially Mother's Day, some shower and thunderstorm chances. We'll try to fine-tune it as we get closer. As far as those severe storms, give it another 15, 20 minutes or so, and we should see those storms pushing out of our area.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, Chicago may have won the lottery in hockey, but the Cardinals beat the Cubs, and we have a football player who plays with a prosthetic. Stick around for this story, please.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
It's one of the more bizarre Cardinal stories in history. They pay Wilson Contreras about $90 million to replace Yadier Molina at catcher. And a little over a month in, they say he'll DH for a while. Tonight, Contreras was back in the place where he won a world championship, Wrigley Field, while playing catcher. And do you think Wilson was fired up in his return? A base hit, and look at him running to first base. Moments later, Dylan Carlson lashes one to left, and Contreras will score the game's first run. Big moment in the sixth. Cody Bellinger flies out to left, and Brendan Donovan will throw a cannon to nail Nick Madrigal for the double play. Donovan can play anywhere. That's why he won a Gold Glove. In the sixth, Contreras delivers again, a double to deep center. It will score Lars Nootbaar, and the Cardinals led it 2-1. He's loving it. Jordan Hicks was very good, and so too was Ryan Helsley. And for the first time in almost a month, the Cardinals go back-to-back, the final 3-1. It's the first time they've won the first game of a series. So the NHL held their draft lottery tonight, and the Blues did not move up. They were slated to pick 10th, and they will pick 10th. Doug Armstrong did not look thrilled. The Note have 3 first-round picks. The #1 pick goes to the Blackhawks, and their pick will be Connor Bedard. Some think the fix is in. The kid could be Connor McDavid. He's 18 years old, and his 71 goals this past season were the most in the WHL in over 3 decades. He could make them special very fast. Speaking of McDavid, his Oilers hosted Vegas in Game 3 tonight. All Golden Knights. Jack Eichel with the goal. They led it 5-1 late in the third. A really cool affair tonight at St. Mary's High School. Former Mayor Francis Slay, an alum, was the featured speaker on Ring Night. The school is celebrating their football state championship, and a local businessman, Jimmy Williams, decided these young men deserved a ring to remember this athletic achievement for the rest of their lives.
It's a great night. It's a great moment for these kids, man, that fought through a pretty tough season, not on the field, but off the field with, hearing everything they had to hear about the school closing and being able to fight through and go through adversity, man. It's special for them.
My new favorite athlete is a young man I met on Saturday morning. He hasn't played in a varsity football game yet, but wow, does this kid have heart. With the help of editor Bill Bennett, we give you the story. The late, great Demetrius Johnson started his HBCU Combine 9 years ago, and 500 showed up on Saturday with numbers on their back to try to impress about 20 college coaches who were on hand to evaluate. And then there was this big young man in the blue shirt named Rose White.
When I was 3 years old, I shoved my foot into an elevator and the bones got crushed, so they had to amputate.
White is a 6'1", 310-pound, 14-year-old freshman from Lafayette High School. He has a prosthetic and an athletic resume.
I've already done a lot for my other sports that I play. I've gotten lots of looks from D2 and D1 schools for wrestling, but football is the first sport I ever played, so it would mean the most to me to get a scholarship in this sport.
But what if the prosthetic is hit?
My dad always told me, tape it up, get up.
No disability will get in the way of Rose White.
I've seen people with no legs, no arms, do much more than I've done. And they'll be remembered forever of people who have no legs, no arms, no eyes, that's still doing stuff.
I can't wait to watch this kid as a high school football player next year at Lafayette.
He's amazing.
Yep.
Thanks, Frank.
A Greek revival, the return of a Memorial Day weekend tradition in St. Louis County, and the big changes you can expect.
Well, the St. Louis County Greek Festival is less than 3 weeks away, and for the first time since the pandemic, it will be held in person. The annual festival is held on Memorial Day weekend at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church in Town and Country. No cash will be accepted, so bring your credit or debit card.
All right, let's take one last look at the radar with Scott.
Yeah, you know, we are talking about these showers and thunderstorms south of St. Louis. Still one severe thunderstorm warning that's left. Far southern portions of St. Clair County, southwestern portions of Washington County, but it's really Randolph County in Illinois that's getting it now. That hail is going to push into Sparta. Most of it will be smaller hail, but it could be in a couple of spots, nickels to quarters. Severe thunderstorm warning until 10:45. We'll keep you updated tonight.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. and we hope you have a great tomorrow.